Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashby and call me Hooby, and recently I've been seeing a lot of stuff about BookCon. Now, I didn't go to BookCon myself, so all of my information on it are from people who did go and have posted about it. If any of this is incorrect, then all I can do is apologise. I know people do go onto the internet to lie about things, but I'm sure that at least some of this is correct based on video evidence and corroborating stories. If you're here, chances are you're either here because it's my video and you like me, in which case hi and thank you, or you've already seen a whole bunch of stuff about the BookCon controversy, so I'm going to go over it a little bit for context, but if you're interested in deep details, that's not what this is. I'm mostly going to be comparing the main complaints I've seen about it to other conventions that I've gone to. I've not seen anyone else do this, but if someone does have a video of it, please let me know because I'd love to see it. So what was BookCon? As the name suggests, it is a convention about books. The same as Comic-Con is a convention that was predominantly about comics, though most of those have branched out into all sorts of things. BookCon 2026 took place in New York in April. It was the first BookCon since COVID, so there was big hype about it. It's actually run by ReedPop. Lots of people who are into conventions will recognise that name as they run a whole bunch of other conventions, including New York Comic Con and MCM Comic Cons. MCM being the main Comic Cons we have here in the UK, though they weren't always in charge of them. And by main I mean if someone says they're going to Comic Con, that's probably the one they're talking about, but there are other ones too. I myself have been to a lot of these kind of events, including many MCMs, UK Game Expo, Eurogamer Expo, RuneFest, the Knit and Stitch Show, the Stitch Festival, the Festival of Quilts, the London Winter Comic Con, and most relevant to this, the Young Adult Literary Convention, more commonly known as YALC. Funnily enough, if this video goes out when I'm planning for it to do so, it'll be while MCM is going on. If it's a week late, it'll be during the UK Games Expo, so it's con season right now. One of the initial complaints about BookCon that I saw was the queue to get in. It definitely sounds extreme and also like it could have been avoided a little. From what I've heard, tickets were oversold, which is also something I've heard about MCM, but only since ReedPop took over. So that might actually be a ReedPop thing. I've not heard it personally about any other event, though that doesn't mean that's not the case, and even hearing about these two events doesn't necessarily make it true. There are also a bunch of complaints about the tiers of tickets. There was standard, silver and gold, with silver and gold obviously getting more benefits. I'm not going to go into too much detail, as then I'll feel the need to compare it to the VIP tickets at lots of sewing shows, but the main thing was that they were offered some author signings as supplies last. I saw people complain they spent a lot of money on these tickets and then couldn't even get to see the authors they wanted to see. You might think, fair enough, it says when supplies last, but allegedly people were getting multiple of the same author, and it does feel like it should have been you get X amount and they all have to be different. By the sound of it, standard tickets still allowed you to buy signings, but they were all gone by the time they were allowed in, as VIPs got priority entry. I'm not too sure how much earlier they were allowed in though. With events that I've been to, they've mostly been an hour, so I would assume that, but also don't want to assume a thing. YALC has a similar method for author signings, but they're free. It is recommended that if you're interested in them, you should go straight to the queue to get the tickets. They're separated by where they are in the alphabet, and each queue gives the option of around 5 authors. And you can get up to one of each. I did overhear someone offering a slip to a friend as they'd got into the queue and asked for one of each, even though they didn't want all of them. And I heard someone else complaining about that. But as far as I know, they didn't run out. And judging by my experience in the queue to get something signed, after getting the slip, I don't think anyone would have missed out because of this. It just means that if you're number 132, you might actually get to talk to them quicker than you previously thought you would. At MCM, there are also author signings, which are also free. You simply get into a queue when the author is ready to start the signing, and that's it. I will say that generally speaking, people don't go to MCM specifically for books, so the queues aren't as long. They also have a Forbidden Planet stall there, and if the author has time after the queue is gone, they'll sign some more books that will then be available for purchase from the stall. From the sounds of it, BookCon may have had something similar, as they had a Barnes & Noble stall, but I don't know for sure. Yauk has a Waterstone stall, but I didn't notice any signed editions there. I also saw people complaining about the lack of free stuff at BookCon. I found this super surprising, as those sorts of conventions never really have free stuff. Well, I say never. Roomfest is a massive exception to this, as you get a whole bag full of goodies and the bag itself is a great bag every year. Last year it was this big backpack with loads of pockets, and it's super useful, genuinely. There are also activities that you can do that get you these little poker chips with RuneScape logos on, which is cooler than it sounds. I will note though that Jagex, the company behind RuneScape and thus Roomfest, have said that they actually lose money every year putting this event on. It's purely for the fans. At MCM you get a smallish bag that has a few things in. It depends on the year and it has been getting smaller. I believe the first year I went, I got a free lanyard with a cool design on, but now if you want anything but a plain lanyard for your pass, you have to pay for it. It's basically just a tote with a booklet in now, the map, the schedule of panels, the official merch available for purchase, that sort of thing. Yauk, you just get a map really. Although I did get a free Beano annual from one of the stands at MCM a couple of years ago. The Beano is a popular comic here in the UK featuring various characters, including the British Dennis the Menace, which, fun fact, debuted the exact same day as the American Dennis the Menace, by pure coincidence. I will say that apparently previous BookCons had a lot of free ARCs and such, ARCs being advanced reader copies, so books that aren't out yet. This year, that was not so much. I had a similar experience at Yauk last year in that I'd heard people often get a lot of ARCs, and while I was able to enter a lot of competitions to get ARCs, I don't think a massive amount of people got any. I could be wrong, and I only have that 1 year's experience so far. BookCon did seem to have a wide variety of official merch available, but I haven't actually seen any photos of the stands, just what people bought. MCM also has a big range, although they've now merged with EGX, so in autumn it's MCM and EGX merch at once, and some of the tops are basically just recolours of previous years. I have this EGX top from 2024, and the following year they were selling the same top, just in a different colour, with the 24 changed to 25. The sewing shows don't have a massive amount of merch available usually, and Yauk had surprisingly little. Basically just a lanyard, a magnet, a tote bag and stickers. A quick note of something else that surprised me at Yauk is that not all of the books were even young adult. There was a lot of adult books available which weren't properly labelled. I'm really hoping no young teens walked away with A Court of Thorns and Roses, for example. Now for a complaint I saw allegedly from an indie author there. This person's booth was completely blocked by a queue for a bigger booth. Apparently lots of people didn't even know it was there. I have also heard that apparently they did have some kind of indie alley though, so I'm not sure how that happened and wasn't really able to understand it. If anyone has more information on that, then please let me know. Having a separate section for indie authors does seem to be common across the board too. Yauk had a section for it, and MCM always has both an artist alley for independent artists and writer's block that's full of indie authors. In the past, writer's block has also been where mainstream author stuff were, the panels, the signings, etc., but they've since moved to a different area, presumably because of how difficult it was to hear anything going on when it was on the main floor. Or perhaps because a few panels got too busy for the amount of seats. Both were true the year before they moved. Lastly, there's a complaint about the quiet room. I saw a video of the space and it was not a quiet room at all. There were literally stalls selling things there. I only have two thoughts of what could have happened. Either, one, the main floor was out of room for the amount of stalls they'd sold, and stupidly put them there, which is bad for the shop owners and for the con-goers, or two, the person whose video it was got confused and there was a door that did go to an actual quiet room. Obviously, this assumes the person isn't lying. I mean, most of this video assumes the people aren't lying, but that's the only one that I've only seen one thing about, so that's why I'm more dubious of that, but that doesn't mean it's not true. And I still felt it was worth mentioning. I don't actually have much experience with quiet rooms. Usually when in need of one, we go and sit in the car instead, to be honest. But I have been in the one in MCM Birmingham, and it was very much what you'd expect. Comfy chairs in a quiet room with dimmer lights. And that's the last complaints that I had about BookCon. The main things were people feeling like they didn't get what they paid for, which is a very valid complaint. If you had anything that I haven't, please let me know. Or if you have experience with other cons, I'd love to hear that too. Thanks for watching. If you want to, please like and subscribe, and maybe you'll see me in the next one. Until then, bye.